The secrets of the small shafts of the Great Pyramid. 2 underbar finds in the Queen's Chamber shafts. 2.1 underbar piece of wood, similar to cedar. 2.2 Dolerite Sphere. 2.1 underbar piece of wood, similar to cedar. The piece that broke off from a larger wooden pole is probably cedar wood. It is 5 inches equals 12.7 centimeter long and has a cross-sectional area of 0.53 x 0.37 inches 1.35 centimeter x 0.94 centimeter, according to Piazzi Smythe's diary entry. In the Nature article from 1872, the dimensions are rounded to 1 decimal place, that is 5 inches long and a cross-section of 0.5 x 0.4 inches. The irregular incisions or notches shown in the image above do not indicate that this object was the broken part of a measuring stick. According to the report by John Dickson Wayman, Dickson's brother, in the Graphic Magazine of December 7, 1872, the piece of wood was in excellent condition and bore strange markings and signs that suggested it was scale axe. 2.2 Dolerite Sphere. The Dolerite ball is known as a striking stone in the British Museum in London. With a size of only 6.5 centimeter in diameter according to the British Museum, that is about the size of a golf ball. If it was a striking stone, it could only have been used for fine work, such as hitting a chisel. An incised line running around the ball can be seen. The report in Nature from 1872 explains that there were a number of white spots of lime or gypsum on the surface of the stone ball. In this condition, the stone ball was precisely weighed by the Standard Department and determined to be 8,324.97 grains of grain. The lime or gypsum stains were then carefully removed and the weight was determined again, this time to be 8,322.4 grains of grain, equivalent to 539.29 g. In the 1872 Nature article, weight stone was mentioned as a possible use. The largest diameter is given there as 7.32 centimeter and the smallest diameter as 6.73 centimeter. The stone ball, which was weighed by Smith in November 1872, weighed 8,325 grains of grain, which corresponds to almost 540 g. This value is also stated in the description of the sphere exhibited in the British Museum. Wilkinson, when asked by Smith, stated that 1 Egyptian mine 26 pounds was equivalent to the weight of 30,427 grains of cereals at 64.8 mg equals 538.1 g. The Dolerite stone found could, therefore, have been an ancient Egyptian weight stone. Whether it is actually a weight stone or more of a striking stone. Since the north shaft was absolutely intact when Dickson opened it, the objects found in it can be assumed to have arrived there together during the construction of the pyramid. In this respect, the hook that was possibly found in the south shaft could only have been there at a later date. As early as April 1873, a note on the finds from 1872 in the Pyramid of Chops appeared in a scientific journal, in which it was no longer distinguished that W. Dickson did not find the 3 relics hook, granite ball and piece of wood in the same shaft. The following excerpt shows. These channels had not been recognized before, as this outcrop into the Queen's Chamber had been neatly filled up with a thin plate of white stone, looking superficially like the rock of the walls. One of them is in the north wall, and the other in the south. Inside them were found squeezed out flakes of white mortar, since then analyzed by Dr. Wallace of Glasgow and found to be not carbonate, but sulfate of lime, an ordinary meaner stone ball weight of the ordinary old profane Egyptians, a little bronze sort of grapnel hook, and a little staff of trimmed cedar-like wood a few inches long, but nearly perished. In later publications that refer to the Dickson relics, finds in the north shaft are usually only reported. This is also the case on the website of Jan ten Brink, who first explored the north shaft of the Queen's Chamber up to a length of approx. 19 meters with his robot Up-Yout 2. The exits closed in this way were only discovered and forced open by W. Dickson in 1872. He found 3 objects in the lower section of the northern shaft, a small stone ball, a wooden strip and an object made of copper, probably a dovetail-shaped copper tool. These items are now in the British Museum, London, and have only recently been rediscovered. The fact that these items were stored in the locked shaft, ensign near the lower exit in chamber, forces us to consider these items as original additions. The most likely interpretation of these objects is that they were model additions, similar to those found in founding editions. They served as tools for the king in the afterlife, the small ball as a stone hammer, the copper tool as a chisel, the wood as a cubit or wedge to magically open the shaft. Werner describes the find as follows. Not long ago, 3 items that Dixon had taken from the north shaft of the Queen's chamber were recovered here. It consists of a stone ball, a wooden slat and a copper object in the shape of a swallowtail. Not only is there no differentiation between north and south shaft finds here, the hook is also described as being made of copper, as it says in the British Museum's description of the object. Hawass 32 notes on its website dated March 21, 1993. In the southern shaft, Dixon and his associate James Grant found a small, bronze hook. The northern shaft yielded a granite ball and a piece of cedar-like wood. These objects became known as the Dixon relics. Both sets of artifacts lay in the rubble at the bottom of the sloping shafts. A report on the discovery of the relics was published in the journal Nature on December 26, 1872, including a drawing of the items. He gives the south shaft as the location for the double hook and the north shaft of the Queen's chamber for the other 2 objects. As a reference, he chooses the Nature article from December 26, 1872. In 2004, however, we at Hawass 33 read something different than before. In the north shaft, Dixon and his partner James Grant found a small bronze hook, a granite ball and a piece of cedar-like wood. These items became known as Dixon relics. Suddenly, all 3 objects were found in the north shaft. The only thing it doesn't change is the fact that the hook is made of bronze. The latter is particularly notable in view of the fact that shortly after the relics were found, end of 1993, the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities commissioned a chemical analysis from the British Museum, which clearly confirmed copper as the material for the hook. The